Let's get another key race alert right now. 20% of the estimated vote is now in. Bernie Sanders maintains his lead with 27.7%. Pete Buttigieg with 22.6%. Amy Klobuchar, 20.8%. Elizabeth Warren, she's down in fourth place, 9.5%. Joe Biden, he's down in fifth place, 8.6%. The remaining candidates, they are below. Let's take a look at the counties. We've been showing you the townships earlier, but take a look at the counties in New Hampshire right now. You can see the light blue is Bernie Sanders is leading in those counties. Pete Buttigieg is leading in one county in New Hampshire right now. Let's dive a little bit deeper with John King over at the Magic Wall. Let's take a look at the townships right now, because that's where we're getting the numbers from.
That's how we count them, as you noted. We're up to 20% now. 5-point lead. That's a lead. Again, Sanders won 4 years ago in a blowout. The question now is, in a more crowded field with more competition, how would he do? To the eyeball at home, pretty easy to see. More light blue, that's Bernie Sanders' color. He's leading in the race right now. But you see, it's been interesting to see the competitiveness of this race, that the two Midwesterners...
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Our correspondent, Evan McMorris-Santoro, is in Nashua for us right now. He's got the results of, one ward over there?
Ward 3 here in Nashua, New Hampshire. And let me just say something. You haven't really lived until you've seen the thrill of a computer printout spitting out of a voting machine at the end of voting in a New Hampshire primary. I've seen a lot of stuff, but that was one of the most exciting things I've ever seen. Ward 3 is part of Nashua, New Hampshire. And Nashua is interesting because it's a little bit more diverse than most of the state. The state's around 1% black. Nashua has around 3% of population. Let me give you some of the results. The results just came out of the machine, and I was excited by it, so I'll read them to you. Sanders, 590. Buttigieg, 496. Klobuchar, 422. Warren, 187. And Biden, 180. So those are results here from Ward 3 in Nashua, New Hampshire. Voting in it with a school bell and a printout, and that's what we got.
Very interesting indeed. Evan, thanks very much, John. Those numbers in that one ward in Nashua, pretty similar to what we're seeing in the rest of the state.
Right, and just to the point, having correspondents on the scene is very helpful, because those have not been called into the state yet and processed through the system. They'll pop up any second. You'll see the colors come in there. It'll turn, if that's the only one ward reporting, it'll turn Sanders blue. Why does Nashua matter? As Evan just said, it's a little bit more diverse.
Who won Nashua 4 years ago?
There we go. Bernie Sanders won it, and again, some of his margins were 60-plus. But this is more competitive because of the diversity, because there are no huge cities in New Hampshire, if you're familiar. But Nashua is a small little city. It's a great little city. You have some suburbs around it, and again, then you're moving down closer to the Massachusetts border. It's somewhat suburban, you might call it. You move up here, but it's in the corridor. It's in the population corridor. This is 4 years ago, and you see townships where Hillary Clinton won are hard to come by because Senator Sanders won the statewide race so big. But so that's where we were 4 years ago. You come back to today, and that's what's interesting. In this corridor down here where you have the population, Concord earlier was for Amy Klobuchar. Remember we talked earlier in the night? Concord has switched. The lead there has switched. Very close still. But as we get up to 60%, the different wards come in from different areas. This is significant that Senator Sanders has pulled ahead in Concord. It's the state capital. It's more of a government town. But there you have there. That was Klobuchar earlier tonight. So you're seeing less dark green on the map, which is important to note as we go. She's still running very competitive in third place there at the moment. But Senator Sanders passed her there. What's interesting to me is you see in Manchester, largest population center, some of the vote comes in late, but what's in so far, we're up to 67%. That's a pretty good, quick count so far in Manchester. Senator Sanders winning by a more comfortable margin here. You see a lot of these towns we've been in that have been very close. This is more gritty, blue-collar voters in Manchester here. The Sanders campaign will be heartened by this. It's going to be a big debate. He won by so much 4 years ago. If he wins tonight, the margins are smaller. How to process that? They'll take it as a win, and this will be helpful to them to make the blue-collar case here. But look here. Amy Klobuchar here. This is Bedford. We talked a bit about this earlier. This is one of the few places Hillary Clinton won 4 years ago. It's more Republican. It voted for Trump in the fall, but it is suburban. You have more independents or undeclared voters, as they call them in New Hampshire. The big fight for suburban women. The Klobuchar campaign, this is very close, but the Klobuchar campaign will take some note that if you're trying to talk about who can be competitive, if you're trying to make the argument in future states, I'm proving I can be competitive in places we need to win in November. It's interesting. We'll see what to make of it. We'll see what the rest of the results. This is 100%. So we'll see how this comes in. If that stays there, that's a victory within the map, if you will, a victory within the battle to be able to say I went into a largely Republican suburb and I won it. And again, if you go back in time, Very hard to find Clinton blue on the map 4 years ago. That was one of the places where that happened. Elsewhere, impressive for Buttigieg, running up some small towns as well. 5 points, almost 6 points behind Senator Sanders at the moment.
22% of the vote is now in.
22%. And again, as you start to go up, and you're a Biden supporter or you're a Warren supporter, you've been waiting, thinking, okay, it's early. As you start to get into the 20s and you move up, still can change, but this basic framework of the race, margins have changed a little bit, has stayed. You have Senator Warren from neighboring Massachusetts, single digits, just below 10%, and the former Vice President of the United States, just below 9%. We'll keep counting them, but that is a sad night for those two candidates. They say they will regroup. They say they will move on, but a three-way race at the moment with Senator Sanders holding on to that lead.
It's been very consistent.
About 5 points.
Yes,
right.
For the past hour or so. All right, we're going to have a lot more coming up. The breakdown of New Hampshire voters by age and ideology. More numbers are coming in. We'll be right back.